Continuing on and solving a logarithm, remember we learned the other day of how to solve logs. We translated to exponential first, 6 to the x equals 216, and then we tried on our calculator to see 6 raised to what power is 216, so x would equal 3. 12, 2 raised to what power equals 8, and again, it just so happens that x equals 3 again. 7 raised to what power is 1 over 343. 7, we know it's going to be a negative power because it's a fraction. And we have x equals negative 3. 14, 7 raised to the x is a positive 343. Well, we just punched 7 cubed, and x will equal 3 again. On the back side, we used our calculators. And remember, write yourself a note, the thousandths is 3 decimal places. So log, use your log button on your calculator. Log of 2.6, rounding off to 3 decimal places would be 0.41. Is that a 4? Look at the number next to it. If that's 5 or more, make that a 1 more up. So log of 2.6 should be 0.415. Natural log, make sure you use your natural log button. 6.7 to the nearest 3 places would 190. Should that be a 2 or go up? It should stay at 2. And then remember, there is a place on our calculator where we can get the log the base 6 of 51. Hit alpha window. Option 5 gives us that log to the base. So if we stick in a 6, move over to 51, rounding off to 3 decimal places, we'll go 2.194. Log the base 6 of 6.4. Again, on this new calculator, remember you can go up, and if I want to change this to 6.4, rounding off to 3 decimal places, I get a 0, 3. Should that be 6 or 7? The answer is 6. Okay. So I'll start you off on the word problems. On your test, I will give you the formula that you need, P times 1 plus the interest rate divided by number of times we compound, all raised to the NT. So like your quiz, you'll have to put the formula first and then punch it out to the nearest 2 decimal places because it's dollars and cents. And so one of the things you'll have to do is just put in the principal is 4,500, 1 plus the interest rate. Remember the interest rate, you move it over 2 decimal places. N is the number of times we compound, which is 1 for annual. And NT is the number of times we compound times the amount of years we're using. So 1 times 6 would be raised to the 6th power. Okay. A equals 4,500. 1 if we're compounding quarterly, that would be 4 times a year, and 4 times 6 would be 24. Monthly, A equals 4,500 times 1 plus 0.015 raised to 12, and then the power would be 12 times 6. So again, you might want to use your calculator. 12 times 6. We would actually raise this to the 72nd power. Okay. So make sure that you put your formula down. I will give you the formula, but you have to know how to substitute it in, and then you have to make sure you know how to punch it right. So 4,500 times 1 plus my interest rate divided by how many times I compound raised to the 6 years. So this would be $4,920.49. Remember, we can go back up here, and this time we want to change this to 4 compounds, and we want to change our power to 24. So each one of these should give us a little bit more. This would be rounded to 96 cents. And then the last thing with monthly, this would become a 12, and we would raise this to the 72nd power. So you're not going to get a lot more, but you should get a little bit more. And again, that should still be in the ballpark range of, if you start with 4,500, we should get more than that, but not some crazy number like millions. The second word problem that we dealt with was just a plain old a, b to the x, where a is what you start with, and b is your growth factor or your decay factor. So on these problems, I want you to identify a, b, and x is just the time that you compound. So in Michigan, unfortunately, our population has gone down over the years. So what was the population initially? Was 14,532,987 people. The decay factor is B, so B is equal to 0.923. The annual percent decrease, remember what we do is we take our growth factor, and that was subtracted off of 1. So 1 minus what rate gives me 0.923. So if I take and subtract that, I actually get a 0.077 decrease. With what percent decrease is that? That would represent a 0.7% decrease. Population in 2014, if we started at 1990 to 2014, T would be 24 years. And that means you just take your formula and you plug in 24 years into our formula. So take your 14,532,000 and our growth, in this case our decay factor, raised to the 24th. And again, since we're talking about people, the rounding off factor should be a whole person. So 0.49 would just still keep this 201 people. So our population, if we continued every year with this, would be 2,124,201 people. The last section for this test is solving for logarithms, and there's a two-step process for this: rewrite into exponential and then solve. So again, you're going to use that log the base b of y equals x, translates to how b is my base, the thing on the other side of the equal sign is my exponent, and the argument is what it equals. So if I do that for 25, I get x squared equals 64. Take the square root of both sides, x will equal 8. In number 26, x to the 5th equals 16,807. I want to take the 5th root of this. So remember how we took the 5th root on our calculator. We actually punch in the 5 first and then go to math and come down here to this funny looking root and then punch in your 16,807, and this will give you x equal to 7. 27 and 28, 5 to the x equals 125. We can guess and check, or remember we have that calculator button that we can use alpha window. Come down to option 5. We can actually put in a 5 and a 125 here, and the calculator will tell us that the exponent should have been 3. In 28, If we have log to the base 4 of 1 over 256, again, I can hit alpha window, put in my base, put in my argument, and the calculator would tell us what 4 raised to the power should be, and that power should be equal to -4. 29 and 30, translate. 3 is my base, -5 is my exponent, and then just go to your calculator. 3 raised to the -5th. It's going to be some decimal. Remember, I want you to change it to a fraction, so your final answer should be 1 over 243. And 2 is my base, 5 is my exponent. Go to your calculator, 2 to the 5th equals 32. Okay, so good luck. If I've made any mistakes on this review or you didn't really understand it, don't hesitate to email me. Your test will be tomorrow. Good luck.